like to thank Kathy Burks and Kathy Williamson, who couldn't be here today, and everyone else. Yeah, if you would please give them a round of applause again. We are so thankful for everything that they have put into making this happen. Thank you to everyone who was involved with serving and the silent auction and the music, and for everyone who's come from different cities and different places to be here with us today. We're just so grateful for you. I was just asked to share, hopefully briefly here, a little bit about where we are at and the impact that this suicide has had in our lives. I never would have thought that my story would include being a single mom. Or widowed by suicide. Even though I knew rates are high in this area, it still seems like such an out there kind of thing, like somebody else, someone else who didn't take precautions, someone else who didn't have faith or hope or whatever you fill in the blank with, who was poor. It could be a number of different things, but it's still hard to grasp. I've heard hundreds of people say, how could this happen to Andre, of all people? And I have that thought all the time myself. So when I share, I'm just sharing this for all of us, so those of us who are struggling now, for those who have no idea that they will in the future, and those who do or will know someone who will in the future. This really does touch all of us, and we can allow it to touch us ahead of time, and sometimes it only comes when it's your front row at the funeral. And I just wanted to share a picture that I have. If you can imagine a person as, I don't know, a pie chart or kind of a whole, we have all of these different areas of our lives, of our family, our work, our goals, our purposes, all these things that are integrated into who we are, and suicidal thoughts and their execution live in this black box, this compartment, that are detached largely from those other parts of our lives, from reality, from logic, from truth. And I think it's a place that, in my experience and in my experience with Andre, someone starts to go when they're hurting or they're struggling, and you think you have control over entering and exiting that box. And you do initially. And that's where hopelessness and pain grows, and the more time you spend in that box, and that becomes some kind of actually reasonable or logical thought in your mind, a trap is being set. And when triggered in a time of great pain, you can slide right into the trap that you have helped set. When triggered, an impulsive decision, you can make the most permanent mistake that we could possibly make. And the reason it feels so important for me to share is because I don't believe Andre was selfish. He was not himself. He was not thinking. He was not in touch with reality, and he was not the Andre that so many of us know and love, and who loves us. And I was asked to share the impact of suicide. There's very logical, very painful consequences, and they were not connected to that dark box that he was in at that time.
Take that out of your mouth. We can't talk
and
to
any
her
thought
until
that
she's
people
all
do
done
have
talking, okay?
when they're in that box, that they think they're thinking reasonably. If you have a thought, people might miss me, they'd be better off without me, they'll get over it. Those kinds of thoughts only display that gaping chasm between the reality of what suicide is and does, and the irrational mindset that is that box. Because within hours of him taking his life, Andre was moving his business forward, ensuring he made 40 hours of work that week to provide for us, delighting in his children, enjoying things about life, loving us. If he had thought of one of these kids getting sick or hurt, he would be right there. Probably would have beat me to them. He would not have put himself out of reach. And if he had a glimpse into the grieving that has occurred in the wake of this, I truly believe he would never have done that. Those things were not connected to that space. And I think one of the easiest ways to move past suicide is to call the person selfish. Hold the position of disgust or anger as you look at the devastation, and to define a person's entire incredible life by their last mistake. And anger, even repeatedly, is a normal part of grief to be worked through, but remaining disconnected from the pain the person was feeling, the loss of them, the empathy for them and us, makes it easier to move on, but you're actually missing it. You're missing the whole. You're missing all of it. So I ask you, please don't dishonor Andre or do a disservice to our family by doing so. I'm grateful for the chance today to make some clear ties of the real aftermath of that black box of suicide. Our losses include the utter devastation of not having him here, his love, his joy, his hugs and his touch, his delight in the children, and playing and teaching, encouraging them the intentional way he fathered and poured into their character, his leadership, protection, strength, his example of character and integrity, using his knowledge and skills to serve us through maintaining the house, cars, property, finances, much of which I am left to try to learn, piece together, and carry forward all at the same time. Financial provision for our family, with 4 children through his degrees that we worked so hard for in the business he had started. Now suddenly, I primarily carry this responsibility alone. And at the same time, we've lost the physical presence of another parent. All that entails with the logistics of life, appointments, work, school, especially with little ones. There's no one to help with sick kids, no one in the night. The car breaks down if there's an emergency. Often the most painful are the constant daily losses. My empty bed, not hearing him wake. The dresser drawers opening and closing. The little girls no longer finding him downstairs in the office to crawl into his lap in the morning. No lunch with him. Hearing about the progress of his business and dreams. Not having him exit the office happily at 5:30 to chase children laughing and engage with our family. Bedtime stories, prayers, hugs, and kisses. No more meals together. He left to eat. Other family activities like projects, movies, bike rides, trips to get caramel apples, one-on-one dates with the kids. Weekly date nights I once had with him working toward oneness is now my alone time to grieve, where I often release a torrent of pain and anguish that I have tried to keep in check all week long. There's the utter pain and devastation the loss has had not only on me, but the children whom he adores, our families he loves deeply, and innumerable other friends and acquaintances whom his life forever changed, and that span all over the globe. The losses include not only Andre himself, but all we have shared. Knowing him 13 years, married 11, living in this area means constant stinging pain with the memories I go everywhere. On the road, every store, everywhere. The loss of being known by him personally, feeling invisible. The one with whom I shared everything and could connect to from across the room with a knowing look is now gone. Inside jokes with the family, movie quotes, and the history of all the years. The things he has already missed and will miss. The future we were supposed to have together. All the realized and potential good he was bringing to the world through his business after 30 years of faithful and dedicated hard work. The damage of the sudden severing of relationship, the inability to reconcile it, talk about it, interact at all. Regrets of how things were left and the what-ifs that we will continue to wrestle with. And worst of all is my inability to tangibly love him, encourage him, and see his joy. I'm already a completely different person, but he cannot benefit from how I've grown or my incomparable increased capacity to love, and I hate this. It could have gotten better. There could have been redemption and so much good. But the opportunity with Andre has been taken away. The losses seem at times unbearable. I find myself saying to God every day, Lord, help me bear this. The list is endless. And I hope that for someone, just a small glimpse into the reality of suicide will not only help integrate that dark compartment, entertaining those thoughts into the whole person, but that it would disintegrate completely as truth and light shine into every crevice. Suicide will not relieve anyone of a burden. It's a catastrophic injury, an amputation to the lives of those you love, and the loss will be incorporated into the rest of their lives. Suicide does not end pain. Instead, the suffering is transferred, laid on those whom you love and who love you. Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. The pain you have right now will not always be that way. It does not have to be. Don't eliminate the opportunity for it to get better. You are loved. You are needed. You are worth the help and support in your time of struggle. It is not weakness. You're worth it. And so are all the rest of us. Thank you.